how much a dollar cost. When I say this is probably going to be the easiest yet most difficult commentary to do, this probably was the most emotionally taxing piece that I've done so far. So here's the backstory. It was Memorial Day of this year. My plan was to go down to Hart Plaza and capture photos of people going to the electronic music festival. And on my way, I stopped by the Spirit of Detroit Plaza, and there's a DJ playing. And while just capturing the vibe, I see this older gentleman, a little bit disheveled, but still had a presence about him. And I'm like, I got to take his photograph. So I asked the gentleman, can I take your photo? And he had no problem with it. I ended up taking 3 shots. So, and I told him, thank you very much. And, I went about my day. So I go home and I'm reviewing the images. And as I come across the photos that I took of the older gentleman, I just couldn't stop looking at them. And it was just something about his presence, his aura. There was a certain regalness about him that honestly I couldn't explain. But in that moment, I said I could not show this as a photo. I had to create a collage out of this. And at that point, it was a 5-day journey. Everything from figuring out the images that I wanted to use to build his face, build his clothes, figuring out things that I wanted to keep, that I wanted to take away. And when it was all said and done, there was nothing that I could take away from that image. If anything, I just added. And what I did add was the scarf that you see around him. Everything had to be included, from his book bag to the glove on his hand, the cigarillo in hand, the lighter in hand. Everything was so necessary to tell his story. And while creating this piece, the music that I found myself listening to, that really was just getting me in tune to the emotional state that I was in. But it all came to a point once I was getting ready to complete the collage. And all of a sudden, I just started hearing these chords. I started hearing music that was familiar to me. And it was How Much a Dollar Cost by Kendrick Lamar. Now, backstory, To Pimp a Butterfly is one of my favorite albums, period. I love that album. And I've heard How Much a Dollar Costs multiple times. But this was the first time that I really took in what was being said and really taking in what that story was and what Kendrick was looking to convey. And Kendrick has said in review of his, in commentary of that track, the point of it was he imagined a moment where God was testing his heart. And in that song, there is this exchange between him and a homeless man. And this homeless man asks him for $1. And when he tells him no, this homeless man continues to stare at him. And he, Kendrick's character just gets to a level of irritation and wondering, why is this man looking at him? And almost, that he has this feeling of entitlement about himself. And it just becomes this back and forth exchange between him and the homeless man. And it ends with the homeless man saying, you want to know how much $1 costs? The price for having a spot in heaven. Embrace your loss. I am God. And at that point, when I heard those final lyrics of that song, I broke down and cried. I cried for about a good 15 minutes because I understood what the purpose was of this particular piece. And I understood why I was placed in that moment, why I came across this man. And in that point, I knew that I was doing God's work to immortalize and tell his story. I was so fortunate that I got an opportunity to see him again a few days later. And in coincidentally, the same place. He was getting ready to get on the bus. I, was able to catch him before he got on, and I showed him the collage. He told me his name is Zorro, and he gave his nod of approval. I haven't seen him since, but I'm just really appreciative of that moment I'm appreciative of that interaction. And to give him his flowers and to immortalize him just felt right.